That day, the number of monsters going after Mahiro kept growing. Naruko told him not to worry, since she would take care of them all. She tossed a grenade at the monsters, and the explosion wiped them out in an instant. Mahiro then asked how long this would keep happening, and if Naruko couldn't just find the monster's hideout and destroy it once and for all. Naruko was surprised that he thought it sounded that easy. It was true the monsters always seemed to be one step ahead, but from that moment on, Naruko decided that she and Mahiro would take the fight to them. She said it was finally time. Naruko opened a dimensional portal and everything around them froze. Even the birds in the sky hung motionless. She explained that the stars had aligned and that Rorie was about to rise to the surface. Soon, Naruko and Mahiro were sailing together. She claimed the day was perfect for a voyage and suggested they head for the Grand Line, but Mahiro refused. Then she said they could go treasure hunting, yet he still turned her down. She even suggested visiting the largest prison to free one of their allies, but Mahiro refused again. Mahiro then asked what kind of creature they were riding. It turned out to be a dragon acting as a water taxi to take them straight to Rorie. Naruko called the dragon sweet, which made Mahiro question her logic. She then teased him, saying he probably wouldn't believe how beautiful the dragon's girlfriend Hydra was. Mahiro had no interest in entertaining that thought. Since Rorie was known as a city tied to Cthulhu, Mahiro wondered why they needed to go there at all. Naruko reminded him that he was the one who wanted to put an end to the enemies, and she added that Rorie was also home to a black market auction house selling all kinds of forbidden goods. She figured they could take care of everything in one trip. Not long after, more monsters began gathering, all heading to Rorie as well. Naruko mentioned that Rorie was also home to the biggest amusement park in the universe, managed by a Cthulhu-based company on Earth. When they finally arrived, Naruko was thrilled. She pointed out the world's third largest roller coaster, the Lang Highlands go-karts, and explained that it took 2 hours just to get inside the Arkham attraction. She even showed Mahiro a mask shaped like the mascot from Innsmouth. Disgusted, Mahiro stabbed it with a fork. He grew frustrated, thinking they came there to stop the auction, not to play around, and told them to focus on the mission properly. Eventually, they reached the auction site, which Naruko had located using her divine radar. She handed Mahiro a small box, calling it a wedding ring. Shocked and annoyed, Mahiro threw the box down and stomped on it. Naruko quickly explained that she was only joking, and in reality, the box held a protective charm. Since they were about to infiltrate enemy territory, the charm would help keep him safe. Mahiro reluctantly picked it up, and the two of them went inside. Mahiro was surprised to find that the place was much larger on the inside than it looked from the outside. Naruko explained that the space was intentionally confusing. After walking for a while, they were confronted by a massive creature. It was Nodens, and Naruko had suspected all along that he was behind everything. Nodens announced that the players had finally arrived and the auction was about to begin. In an instant, Mahiro and Naruko were surrounded by a crowd of monsters. Naruko couldn't believe Nodens had gone this far, especially with her standing right there. She threatened to cut down both him and the guests if needed. Of course, Nodens knew she would try to stop him, so he ordered Thuko to fight her. Naruko was shocked, since Thuko was an enemy of the Nyarlathotepians. The two of them had attended the same kindergarten and grade school, and they had fought countless battles against each other since then. Mahiro nervously asked if Naruko couldn't defeat her, but Naruko admitted she had a weakness. This worried Mahiro, especially since Thuko seemed incredibly powerful. Suddenly, Thuko hurled a wave of fire at them. Naruko immediately shoved Mahiro aside to shield him from the flames. Thuko then grabbed Naruko by the neck and lifted her off the ground. Despite her strength, Naruko couldn't break free. Nodens quickly transported both of them to another place where no one else could see the fight. After that, Naruko was transported to a place called the Nodens Dimension, a space where her enemy's powers doubled while her own strength weakened. Naruko began to panic because Mahiro had been left behind. She needed to return quickly, since if she didn't, Mahiro would be in serious danger. Thuko, however, declared that she would not allow Naruko to leave that place. Naruko prepared to fight Thuko with her Outer Space CQC Part 5. She threw a grenade at Thuko, but Thuko easily deflected it. It turned out Thuko's Outer Space CQC was actually Type 100. Thuko then launched a barrage of laser fangs at Naruko, who swiftly dodged them, almost as if she were performing in some kind of dimensional circus. Thuko suddenly asked if Naruko remembered the love they once shared. Naruko admitted she didn't understand what Thuko was talking about. As Naruko countered another attack and hurled her staff toward her opponent, she was confident it would land a direct hit, but Thuko snapped the weapon apart with ease. Thuko then unleashed an overwhelming number of laser fangs. Neruko was shocked since she had believed Thuko only had two. Thuko simply replied that everyone grows stronger day by day. Neruko refused to accept that reasoning, arguing that unlimited laser fire was nothing compared to true hand-to-hand combat. Out of nowhere, Thuko quoted a line from their school textbooks, saying one should always believe in outer space CQC, even if others might not agree. As lasers rained down on Neruko, Thuko managed to restrain her on a bed. Neruko was completely confused about what Thuko was doing. Thuko looked at her closely and commented that Neruko had grown up. She then confessed that she had always loved Neruko, wrapping her arms around her. Thuko said her feelings had been there since kindergarten. Meanwhile, in another part of the dimension, Nodens was preparing for an auction. The monsters were overjoyed, eagerly awaiting the event. Nodens restrained Mahiro and demanded to know what he could possibly offer. Mahiro, still in disbelief, was convinced Nodens was only joking. Back in the other battle, Neruko rejected Thuko's confession, pointing out that it made no sense. Neruko was in Nyarlathotep while Thuko was a Cthulhu, which by definition made them natural enemies. Thuko, however, insisted that her grandfather once told her that even a Cthulhu could fall in love with a Nyarlathotep, and that true freedom meant following those feelings. Thuko asked if Neruko loved Mahiro. Neruko admitted that she had fallen for Mahiro at first sight, describing him as her soulmate, someone bound to her by destiny itself. Hearing this, Thuko's expression darkened. She declared that Mahiro would be doomed, claiming she would destroy him completely. Neruko immediately broke free from her restraints and stood her ground. She swore she would never allow Thuko to harm Mahiro, and that she would show Thuko the seriousness of her resolve in battle. Neruko activated her enhanced outer space CQC, transforming in an instant. She explained that there was only one reason she had to defeat Thuko, because Thuko had made her truly angry. Thuko could not understand why Neruko chose Mahiro despite her own love being so strong. She fired another blast of lasers at Neruko. They had no effect. Neruko's body was now protected. Neruko charged forward and struck Thuko with a powerful punch, sending her crashing to the ground. At the same time, Mahiro was still trapped in Nodens' grasp. He remembered the good luck charm Neruko had given him earlier and opened it, wondering if it really held any power. The moment he did, Neruko, in her new transformed form, emerged from the charm itself. The monsters watching gasped, recognizing the symbol of the Planetary Defense Organization. Terrified, they panicked and fled the scene, vanishing into the distance. Neruko shouted, asking if Mahiro was still safe, especially his well-being. She admitted she had come to rescue him, striking down Nodens' tentacles and catching Mahiro as he was falling. Nodens grew frustrated and demanded to know what Neruko had done to Thuko. Neruko replied that she had defeated Thuko as easily as a monster that collapses at the very start of a movie. Nodens was shocked to hear this, since he had hoped to profit from the auction. But with his plans ruined, he was forced to retreat. Just as he turned away, Neruko blocked his path and asked what he had intended to do with Mahiro. Nodens explained that Mahiro had been chosen as the main character for a new TV drama series. It was based on a comic about a girl from Earth and was said to be a glittering story of love and conflict, purchased by a young entrepreneur. Neruko questioned if it was some sort of strange show. Nodens admitted that at first he believed he could earn money by placing Mahiro as the central role for the auction. Mahiro was stunned to realize everything he had endured was for something so foolish. Nodens strongly disagreed with him, claiming it was not foolish at all, and explained that he had many great ideas for Mahiro's role, such as wearing accessories or strolling around dramatically for romantic effect. According to Nodens, Mahiro was a perfect fit for such a performance. Mahiro became irritated by Nodens' explanation and told Neruko to finish him off. Without hesitation, Neruko unleashed her final purifying shot, destroying Nodens and the place where they stood. Afterward, Neruko returned to the park. She said her mission on Earth was complete since she had eliminated everything that threatened Mahiro. She also admitted she no longer had any reason to stay on Earth. With a flushed face, Mahiro thanked her. Even though he knew she had many hidden motives, he could not ignore the fact that she had protected him despite them not knowing each other for very long. He was truly grateful and promised he would never forget her. Neruko became overjoyed and teased that Mahiro had just confessed his love to her. Mahiro quickly denied it, saying he was only being polite, and told her not to misunderstand. Still, Neruko felt happy about being assigned to protect him. When Mahiro turned to face her, Neruko stopped him, saying that Warrior would sink back into the ocean, the galaxy would begin to move again, and their story would end there. They would go back to living separate lives. She reminded Mahiro to take care of his health before bidding him farewell. Time then resumed and Mahiro returned to his world. Once he got home, he was surprised to find Neruko greeting him at the door. She told him she knew he must be tired after working so hard and offered to take care of him. Mahiro, shocked, reacted by tossing something at her and demanded to know why she was still in his house. He had thought she had gone back to her world and disappeared for good. Nagaruko explained that the organization targeting him had been completely destroyed, but she suspected new enemies might appear again, which meant their battle was only just beginning. Mahiro jokingly asked if she was like a cancelled weekly comic artist who kept returning. Naruko replied that part of her job was making sure everything stayed safe, and that she would continue protecting him forever. She then boldly suggested they should share a bed. However, she was startled when Mahiro pointed a fork at her, clearly ready to chase her off again.